Good. Get started. Good evening, everybody. We just had our closed session, and we're out of our closed session, and hopefully some of you got to see the brand new fire engine here for Station 37 here in Desert Hot Springs, and now we're in our presentation period. And I have the honor tonight to recognize a longtime member of the Mission Springs Water District and community member, Nancy Wright. Would you join me up here? And yes, that's applause. Now that you're not an elected official for the water district anymore, they will be happy to always applause for you and say good things about you. They won't throw things at you anymore. There's a lot of times that people are elected to seats and they serve a term, maybe two, and they kind of go off. After a lot of times these seats are filled by retired individuals. And then there's people who do serve for a very long period of time. Nancy Wright served the Mission Springs Water District 34 years. Found that on the internet. I want to make sure it was true. And she served this community well. Nancy came here and Pete kidnapped her, married her. And they raised their family here, just outside of Desert Hot Springs, Painted Hills, Whitewater area.
You're now right across the street from us.
Yes. And with that said, Nancy ran for the Water District 34 years ago and won her seat, and she was elected multiple times back to that seat to serve the city of Desert Hot Springs, the Mission Springs Water District, and many other boards. She served on the California Regional Water Quality Control Board for 17 years, and you still were going to finish that term.
They're four-year terms.
Four-year terms. So it's similar to the Coachella Valley Mosquito Vector Control, where if you're appointed at a certain time, you continue that term even if you're not the official. So she's still going to be technically a politician because you're still serving on a board.
Okay.
But you're still serving the city of Desert Hot Springs and the water needs with the Regional Water Quality Board. But there is another honor that she was appointed to LAFCO. And that's the formation committee that basically formulates our boundaries and annexations and those types of things. And she was served on there for 10 years. Yeah, and so that was another honor for us in Desert Hot Springs. There's only 2 special districts that are appointed to that, correct? Mm-hmm. And so it's a big honor to be able to serve on that board. She's also served on the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Energy and Environmental Resources Committee. And then you kind of get into her community work here in Desert Hot Springs. The Women's Club is a organization that serves this community really well and has given hundreds of thousands of dollars to local youth in our community to help them better themselves in college, junior college, and other areas. She served on the Women's Club for 35 years, and I don't think they're going to let her go.
Not yet.
And one of the really great programs that she started while being with Mission Springs Water District is she helped find, or was one of the founding members of the Groundwater Guardians. And this is an organization that went out and educated people on the water under our feet each and every day, from the hot water to the cold water, and did a lot of protection. Now, if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, they were instrumental with the district on getting us to the water tasting.
Yes.
And making, I always forget how many awards, and I should have looked it up, but do you remember 10 awards?
I think there's been 10 now,
Yeah.
yes.
10 different water awards for the best tasting water in the world.
Well, and that included one from AWWA, American Water Works Association, for having the most medals.
So this is a pretty awesome. Nancy's, some of her biggest accomplishments on Mission Springs Water District was helping lead the efforts with the $68 million state grant, which will help pay 100% of that new regional water reclamation facility to the south of our community. She also was instrumental in the $3.3 million AQMD grant, which provides 1.1 megawatts of solar power to that project and projects around there. Her community service didn't end there. When she was younger and her kids were in school, she helped, was actually the parent-teacher group treasurer for Desert Hot Springs Elementary, which is now Winslow Alternative Education. And she was friends and principal with Principal Edward Winslow, who was my principal when I went to school there. He was. And then she was also a founding member of the, and first president of Desert Hot Springs Middle School, or Desert Springs Middle School, and the community teachers organization there. She's also was a Little League mom, close to my heart. Everybody knows Little League. Carol. Can't leave Carol out over there. But baseball is an important piece, and a lot of people don't realize how that program started in 1972, and with different parents and people throughout the years, we've helped keep it going. She was very instrumental in Mission Springs Park being developed like it was. We actually built a big baseball field there and used it for soccer, but over years soccer needed to take it over because the program grew so much. But she was so instrumental in our city, and a lot of times people don't get the credit that they deserve for serving when they served. And even though you're not sitting on a dais at Mission Springs Water District every day, you're still in our hearts for all the community service that you've given to us. So on behalf of me and the City Council, we wanted to give you just a nice certificate of recognition for your years of service to the Mission Springs Board of Directors.
Thank you, Scott.
And I wanted to also say, you know, don't hand these out like candy. Sometimes I do, but try not to. But you've actually deserved this. This is a key to the city, for the city of Desert Hot Springs, for all your service. It doesn't really work in the doors, but if you flash it at the door, they might let you in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you like to say anything? Would you like to say anything?
Something, anything. Oh, gee, I don't know. I'd just like to thank the city council, and thank all my constituents. It was a very big honor to have served this community for 34 years, and to take care of one of our most precious resources, water, and to make sure that everybody here had a clean, safe, reliable water supply has been very dear to my heart, and I will keep advocating for that forever, probably. Anyway, thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to do, the police chief's going to come up now, and he's got some things, but afterwards, if you want to take some pictures and stuff, we'll be done here, and you can utilize the background here. But with no further ado, our esteemed police chief, Jim Henson.
Good evening. I'm going to start off with the animal control. For those of you that didn't know, this was a trying year for animal control. We had 2 illnesses that were pretty serious, and for most of the year we went down to 1 animal control officer. And the city survived. We didn't get help from anybody. It's because of these 3 individuals here that piecemeal and keep animal control running, and keep the city safe. So I'd just like to thank Paul, Stephanie, and you're going to get to meet Noah here in a second. And I just want to make sure you guys don't want to come up. They love animals, but not so sure about people. Okay, Noah, why don't you come on up? Please welcome Animal Control Officer Noah Pena. In 2016, Officer Pena started off as an explorer at the Banning Police Department, where he earned the highest position as post captain. After 6 years at the Banning Police Department, he enrolled himself in the College of the Desert Basic Police Officer Academy and graduated with his Level 3 Reserve Peace Officer certificate. Officer Pena grew up in Banning, California, and is supported by a family of 6, his parents, Misty and David, and 3 siblings, Alexis, David, and Anise. Noah's goal is to become a full-time police officer. Officer Pena is excited to start his journey by working with the community alongside his peers in the city of Desert Hot Springs. So he is working animal control right now. He's got his police background, and we're hoping to get him over probably in the next year or 2. I know Stephanie's really happy about that, but Noah, why don't you come up and say something?
I'd just like to thank the City of Desert Hot Springs for the opportunity. This is actually my first opportunity in law enforcement, so I just wanted to get my foot in the door. I'd like to thank the city of Desert Hot Springs, especially for the animal control and the law enforcement, especially the chief here and Stephanie, and give me an opportunity. So thank you.
Noah, kind of stick around. We have pictures after. No, you could have a seat, but right afterwards. Okay, next, I'd like to introduce our newest police officer, Johnny Acosta. Johnny, come on up. Please welcome our new police officer, Johnny Acosta. Johnny was born and raised in Indio, but he's fine here. I know it's Indio, but Officer Acosta attended College of the Desert, where he enrolled in the Public Safety Academy program and completed levels 2 and 3. In 2018, he enrolled as a self-sponsored recruit at the Riverside County Ben Clark Regional Training Center, Class 1-17, and earned his Level 1 post certificate. Johnny worked as a public safety officer for the Cabazon Band of Mission Indians until he was hired by the Deputy Sheriff's Department in Imperial County in 2020. In 2021, Officer Acosta returned to Riverside County and was hired by Morongo Tribal Police Department, where he held the position as Tribal Police Officer. Johnny participates in extracurricular activities such as the 2022 Baker to Vegas event. Johnny is a member of the Fraternal Order of Police, Riverside Chapter, and National Latino Peace Officers Association, Coachella Chapter. Johnny spends his time with his family, raising 2 young children, and spending time with his wife. Johnny personally enjoys playing soccer, horseshoes, and pool. Johnny's passion for public service and commitment to law enforcement has led him to achieve his goal as serving as a police officer with the City of Desert Hot Springs Police Department in hopes of building a lifelong career. Please offer him a warm welcome, and then I would like his wife Carla to come up and pin him. Okay, why don't you step on up, but before that, we want to get him sworn in first.
Raise your right hand. Do you, Johnny Acosta, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California, and that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter?
I do.
Congratulations.
Okay, then step over here. He's wearing a vest, so he's protected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I just want to say thank you to the city and the city council for approving hiring more police officers. I appreciate you. I just want to give you a round of applause. Thank you. Because I wouldn't be here without that. I just want to say I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be able to serve in law enforcement here in the Valley. Since I started my career back in 2020, my goal was to come back here and serve in the Valley, to be with my family and do the passion I love. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity for giving me that. Thank you.
Okay, well, I have everybody. One last thing. This last weekend, apparently we made the news all over the place. A shooting, 2 homicides, a rollover TC, all attributed to the city of Desert Hot Springs. None of those happened in the city. So there's unincorporated DHS and the city of Desert Hot Springs. So just be sure that when you see Desert Hot Springs, read more. And if you see that deputies respond to the call, it's not us. But our weekend was nice and quiet, even though around us it was going a little bit crazy. But just rest assured, none of that happened in the city of Desert Hot Springs. And thank you.
All right, we'll allow everybody to take pictures and stuff. We'll recess for 15 minutes. Good evening, everyone. Gerald, you all set? All right, we're good over there. I am going to call the meeting to order. This is the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as the successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board. For Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, this is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betts.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Present.
Councilmember Pai.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Nunez.
Present.
And Mayor Mattis.
Present. For our invocation tonight, we have Reverend Matthew Dudley he's the pastor of the Spring. We all kept saying the Christian Center, but they decided to change their name to confuse us, but it wasn't that confusing. So I'm really happy to have you here tonight. Thank you very much. And then after he's done, Mr. Betts, would you lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great to be with all of you, and yes, that's the whole reason we changed the name.
Was because we were concerned about the confusion for the city. So why don't we take a moment, we'll pray, and thank you once again for the invitation, and thank you to everyone that serves our city. We're grateful for all the hard work that's done here in Desert Hot Springs for the betterment of our city. So, Father, we thank you. We thank you that together we get to call this place home. And Lord, as the city business is discussed this evening, we are grateful because we are in a room full of people that care about our city. So help us, God, to find solutions, to work together for the betterment of the city, for the work of justice, for the work of peace, for the work of righteousness in this community. We thank you. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, please stand, place your hand over your heart, and join me in saluting our nation's flag. Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have our city attorney report on closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, we do not have any reportable action.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to take the item which is approval of the agenda. We're also going to ask that we approve the consent calendar at the same time. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any items on the consent calendar? I see nobody coming forth. Anyone would like to pull any items from the consent calendar? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Go ahead. So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. To get them on the screen. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, move to public comments at this time pursuant to the Brown Act. Excuse me. Any person may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the City Council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment portion of the agenda that are not listed on the agenda. All comments are be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. If you are making public comments, you will have 3 minutes. You have these big screens up here. They have your timer on there. When the timer ends, I'll usually let you finish your thought, but I will have to stop you at that time, or we'll have to give more time to everybody. With that, I have 3 speaker cards. They are blue. Anyone that would like to speak, you can fill those out and give them to the clerk over there. First one is Eddie Johnson.
Okay, just want to make sure it's on. Mayor, city council members, city officials, and residents of Desert Hot Springs. I just decided I want to praise some people. The mayor, the city council members do a great job in the city. Luke, you do great as city manager, and Dorian, I about know everybody here. I just want to praise everybody for an outstanding city now. I've been here since '92, and I've seen a big change. And the change is all good. The police department, fire department, my house is still there, thank God. And the residents, I think they're very happy too. So we're also going to have, in May 29th, Memorial Day coming up. And Roberto and I will be working on that for Memorial Day at Veterans Park. But I just wanted to praise everybody and thank you for every outstanding job you guys are doing in the city. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for all your work you do for us. Next, I have Kurt. Is it Henshaw?
That'd be hand shoes, sir.
Henshaw.
Yes. That's okay, everybody struggles with it first time. Good evening, everybody. And I double what that gentleman just said. I second that emotion. I'm here about the park tonight. Is this an appropriate time to make mention of that? Okay, great. I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm in support of that park, and I know that the ownership up in that area would take very, very good care of that park, given the opportunity. I think it's time to give that park a chance. It's a nice area up there. There's a lot of other development going on, and I'd like to see it. And I don't have a dog in the fight outside of support. So hopefully you can see your way to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming out tonight. Tom Owen. Tom is the last blue card I have. Anyone would like to speak? This is the second call.
I'm Tom Moen, 44-year resident of Desert Hot Springs. I was very young when I moved here. I want to thank our City Council for allowing a wide latitude at these public comments. And I've been trying to share some of the history of Desert Hot Springs. This city has a most interesting history with the people involved. We have, of course, Cabot Yerxa, Aubrey Wardman, and other distinguished people. Aubrey, he started our Angel View Crippled Children's Hospital, and we named a park after him. And remembering our history is important. We've been told so many times that if we forget the past, we're going to repeat it and repeat it. And there's been too many times when we've been in a hurry to get something done right now, and then we regret it. And so I'd like to point out a couple of items in our town. You got the Sahara Hotel. You've got the Hyundai Hotel. They both have chain link fences around them, and they're eyesores, and they have transient occupants, but they don't pay transit occupancy tax, or as they did before. So, you know, I think it's better to keep things running and operating and going. Therefore, I think it would be best if our city would give the Spa Hotel another chance to operate the Hot Springs Park successfully. That fence went up suddenly. I don't know, maybe someone can correct me, I don't know of any public hearing that was held on that. The fence just showed up. And I think we need to review that. Number two, I cannot be here without saying something about the grand entrance to Desert Hot Springs. All the GPS bring people down Pearson Boulevard. Have you taken a look at what that grand entrance looks like? It's not very appealing. People, if they even stop, there's no signal there. They're coming here. But how can we better attract people to Desert Hot Springs? Well, we'll go back to putting that nice statue there of Cabot Yerxa with his mule, Merry Christmas, searching for water, and we can have appropriate wording, something, best hot water in the world, or something like that. Thank you for giving me time to talk. Have a good meeting, and good night to all.
Thank you, Tom. Final call. Would anybody like to speak in public comments? Perfect timing. Your 3 minutes will begin when you say your name, and then before you leave, if you can fill out a blue card and give it to the clerk.
Will do. All right. My name is Stephanie Martin, resident here at Desert Hot Springs, and also a professional. I provide services for my consulting company, Quantum Consultations, and as such, I would just like to tell everybody about the Salton Sea. This is one of the projects I've been working on, and it's in the works for a couple years now in the making, and it's triggered now. This is the latest news. The CEQA NEPA process here, okay? And I'd like all of y'all's public comment, okay? Since we here live in the CV, okay, it concerns us all. I'm sure you smell that innocuous offensive odor sometimes and wonder, gee whiz, I wonder how the people in the immediate vicinity are dealing with it. Well, here's our chance to really band together here and I'm asking y'all a big favor here, but it's your civic duty as well to read this 218-page draft. You can find it at the saltandsea.ca.gov, and yeah, you can you can read the draft, and yours truly is Concept 8. So if you could put in a good word, Thunderbird, if you really like mine, it's all about cleaning up, doing small things incrementally, and just salvaging it rather than try to wholly, let's put a bunch of water on it and call it good. I'm looking for local solutions there. So read it for yourself, and if you like it, please provide some good California feedback, because it's going all the way up the flagpole there to the governor's office. And where you can provide feedback is Salton Sea, that's SaltonSeaLRP at resources, resources.ca.gov. Okay, that public comment period is open till March 17th. It's open February 1st. It's for the long-range plan. That's a long-range plan. We're talking about, I think 75 years at the minimum, but they're looking for it's a long-range plan, so this is important, y'all. Okay, I want y'all to get with it. This is brought to you by the CNRA, the SSMP, the California Desert Water Resources, sorry, I'm nervous, and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So that's pretty much all I gotta say. I am very pleased and happy about being a resident here in Desert Hot Springs, and I love it here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Still have 12 seconds, sure? Have a great night. Anyone else? All right, that will be the end of public comments. We'll close public comments and go to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Gerald, would you mind pulling up that photo, please? So before we move on to department updates, I wanted to acknowledge our fire chief, Chief Beverlin. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit here. So last week on June 30th up in Sacramento, they had the Cal Fire Directors Awards. And one of those awards is for superior accomplishment, and that's for performance resulting in exceptional contributions to Cal Fire that clearly demonstrate ingenuity, innovation, and creativity beyond normal job expectations. And so that award was received by Fire Chief Mike Beverlin, and he earned this award when he was leading the Combustible Materials Task Force for Riverside County. And one of the major accomplishments that the task force had was mitigating the significant fires that were happening down on Beacon Road. So I wanted to take a minute and both acknowledge and congratulate Chief Beverlin. The city is certainly fortunate to have you as our fire chief. So thank you very much. And now we will move on to department updates. Administrative services, please.
Good evening, and our financial update for fiscal year 22-23 as of the end of January 2023. Our revenues so far this year are over $11.6 million, which is 36% of the amended budget. Last year at this time, the revenues were a little over $13 million. But that included $1.7 million transfer from the ARPA funds. Without that, the revenues were $11.2 million. About 2 years ago, our revenues were $10.5 million, which was 41% of the budget. As for expenditures, our expenditures this year so far are $15.8 million, which is 49% of the amended budget. Last year at this time, we were at $14.8 million, which was 44% of the budget. And 2 years ago, we were at $13.3 million, which is at 48% of the budget.
Thank you. And moving on to Public Works, please.
Good evening. The following are updates for public work projects. Balco, the subcontractor for Onyx Paving, is boring the conduit for the SCE LED streetlights. The pictures show the boring machine shooting conduit lines under the street. Onyx has paved the base level of asphalt for the street replacement in areas that were designed to be removed and replaced. Onyx has grinded the streets for the areas that were designed to be milled and capped. Onyx is scheduled to install the final road cap on Palm by the end of the month. Police station front office TIs. The police station is continuing its tenant improvements with the front office area. This portion of the project includes new flooring, new furniture, new storage, new electrical and communications, and a camera viewing stations. Carl May Center TIs. The project includes demo and removal of all flooring and the dais, plumbing in the kitchen and restrooms. The contractor has installed new plumbing in both the kitchen and restrooms. The restroom has been redesigned to allow ADA access. The restrooms have new tile. The kitchen has new cabinetry. The new and there's a new water station with a bottle filler. Paint and flooring will be done as soon as the roof repair and the installation of the new HVAC system is completed. Ormond Park Desert Hot Springs Little League upgrades. One of the biggest changes this year for Little League is that the snack bar will be in the Cabot's building. There will be more upgrades to come, but currently the contractor is running plumbing for the ice machine and the drains. Other improvements include new foul poles, new wrought iron fencing on West Drive, 2 new T-ball fields, and the grass area behind the Cabot's building. Changeable message signs. The Indian Canyon location is currently in plan check with Palm Springs. The contractor will be back on the Palm Drive location this month to install the equipment. Signal warrant for Palm Drive and Park Lane. The consultant will be conducting the traffic counts for this intersection this week. This is the 3rd time the city has performed the signal warrant for this location. The city is continuing with the design that is 90% completed, so when the signal warrant is met, we have a shovel-ready project. The city is also seeking the final partial funding for this project. And finally, SB 1383 public outreach. Organics collections has started in Desert Hot Springs. To continue public outreach, Public Works and DVD were at the Mission Springs Water District anniversary event at Mission Springs Park. They handed out over 150 countertop messing up on my words.
Food waste baskets.
Yeah, food waste baskets, pretty much. And the liners. Public Works and DVD will be at the Desert Hot Springs High School this Thursday and also at the Senior Center on Monday, giving out more information and more buckets. There are free countertop bins and liners available for pickup at City Hall, and we also have them here in the council chambers, so help yourself. And that's it.
Thanks, Nick. That concludes my report.
All right, we'll go to city council reports. We'll start with, let's see, we're going to start at this end this time. Mr. Betts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see. We had some good news that was, delivered about the city and its public safety lately, and what improvements that we've made, and that's starting to resonate with the communities around us. And I got a call from the directors, the community board out there at Desert Edge, to come meet with them, and they're very interested in Desert Hot Springs. So we discussed some issues on transit, and also they had much interest in the public safety, the progress that we've made, and they're having some issues out there. So they've taken an interest in Desert Hot Springs. So maybe where years ago they didn't want anything to do with us, now they're hinting that maybe that's something in the cards. So it was a good meeting. Attended the Sunline Fuel Cell, Hydrogen Fuel Cell demonstration and conference. That was on the 18th. On the 26th, I attended a homeless forum that was put on by the city. I think there was 3 of those. I attended one. I'm hoping that the council will get some discussion going on that subject, either at a study session or at some point in time, so the council needs to get their heads around that. Attended the Burger King ribbon cutting. It was quite impressive to see the support from Burger King corporate at that event. Attending was the guy who was in charge of all the western United States. I thought that was impressive. Also there was a gentleman from San Jose, and then somebody who represented Burger King in the Salt Lake City area. The owners were ecstatic. I did miss the official ribbon cutting. You guys got to that a little quicker than I got there, but it was the owners were just really thrilled with all the attention. So, and they've had a success there. I met with a company looking to expand services for the elderly in our city. That was on the Sunday the 30th. On Wednesday, February 1st, I attended the Friends of Desert Library, Desert Hot Springs Library Group, and they had a presentation by Donna Wardeen. I know Donna as a former appointee on one of the commissions, one appointee of mine, and man, the stuff you learn about people. She's a very accomplished skydiver with 3,000 skydives, and I can get into more detail, but it was really nice to see you know people and you talk to them and think you get to know them, and then all of a sudden you find out, wow, this person was a pioneer in the Hall of Fame of skydiving. I see we got the Palm Drive paving effort going on from 5th North, and I've expressed to staff I'm a little bit concerned about the paving. It seems to be bumpy. I'm hoping we get that straightened out. I met with staff today. There was concerns from the residents about the perimeter fence at Corporate Yard, and I got some confirmation today that that's being done. And it's just, if you go look at it, it's a little bit unsightly when you drive around where we store all our maintenance equipment. And it just goes to show a lot of things that come on up here is somebody in the public mentions something, and then it gets relayed to city staff, and we got a great city staff, and they went and looked at it, and they said, yeah, let's get on that one. So it was nice to see that, responsiveness. So if you got any complaints, just send them this way. They'll get taken care of. Attended SCAG Transportation, nothing directly related to Desert Hot Springs, but budget cuts seem to be on everybody's minds with a looming $20.6 billion budget deficit at the state, and the governor talking about delaying some transportation projects. And the conversation at SCAG Transportation was telling the governor, don't cut our budget. So I hope we don't get into too much of that, but you got that going on. The only other thing is kind of concerning here to me was I stopped in at the senior center and just at lunch and sat down at a table. Somebody started talking to her. We had a really nice conversation for about 15 minutes. And then she says, well, in about 15 days, I'm going to be homeless. I go, really? Tell me about this. Well, the house that she lives in and lived in for 12 years was sold, and the new owners coming in, they're going to renovate it, fix it up, and whatever they wanted to do. And they wanted the house, but they didn't want the renters inside. And she didn't have the means to go out and get another place. And the price of rentals are way out of line. Even the price of a room was more than she's making. And I'm sure this is a story that's going on 1,000 times over. But I just happened to sit on this table and hear this story, so I went on the hunt to try and figure out what to do. It was all the way up to the very last day that found her a place, and there's just not enough help out there. I spent 2 weeks searching, trying to figure out, how to get somebody a place to stay, and thinking, okay, well, maybe at least put her up in a hotel temporarily. So that needs to be on everybody's minds, that we have a lot of people out there that are struggling. I'm sure for that one person that I encountered, there's probably 100 more. And so I don't know what this council can do to remedy that situation, but I think senior housing for people who just aren't making enough to get by in this very inflated world these days might be something that we want to take up and see if we can do something, to help those people that are out there. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Just one outside council meeting, Visit Greater Palm Springs Board meeting, and at that we approved a new grant opportunity for Spanish-speaking entrepreneurs called Seed 2.0, and anybody who has an eligible tourism-related business like a restaurant or housekeepers, daycare, transportation, anything like that serves the tourism industry is eligible for a micro grant up to $7,500. And there's a website where you can get in more information and start going up. But the website address is entirely too long for me to yell out here, and nobody will ever be able to figure it out. And so if you're interested at all in that grant, reach out to me through City Hall, and I will get you the link and the information. Also attended the ribbon cutting for the new Burger King. Got a chance to meet with the new owners, and they're really excited to be here, looking at more opportunities as well. And I see on the Planning Commission, the future agenda, a Dairy Queen on the horizon, so we'll have burger royalty in DHS, a king and a queen. And speaking of queens, the Queen of Public Service, we honored her tonight earlier, Nancy Wright, and I wanted to just let folks know that Nancy is an exemplary person of public service, 34 years with MSWD. I remember the first time, or not one of the first times I met her, but shortly thereafter, a rerun of Huell Hauser showed up, and there was a very young Nancy Wright cuddled up with Huell Hauser talking about Desert Hot Springs water. She served with me, and she served on a lot of the alphabet soup organizations that are around here. You left one off, the Coachella Valley Conservation Commission. She serves on that one with me, and she'll be missed from that, but she certainly was the kind of an exemplary public servant that I think everybody up here strives to be, and that is to love the community you're working in and do your best for that, and to do it for 34 years like she did is really, truly an amazing accomplishment. So, and that's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Protem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only a few weeks ago, we attended the downtown forum that we had here at City Hall, and I was just happy to see so many residents show up and provide input and give a sense of direction where they want to see the downtown area. So I was happy to be a part of that and have this space open for the public to be a part of. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it, staff. Secondly, we just finished our season for AYSO soccer here in Desert Hot Springs, and I can't tell you enough how many parents that say, you know what, thank you for being here in the city, and even through the pandemic we had some teams going on, some clinics going on, so we're just happy to end the season in a positive note. I'm hoping to get with Nick to do a couple of things, and Mr. Mayor, if I can, in the next couple of weeks, get some direction to go honor some of these kids and teams, and then the organizer of the AYSO. Thirdly, I just want to give props. I think we're still doing the taco tour. So if you guys can, we're asking the residents to do the taco tour here to vote on the best tacos here in Desert Hot Springs. You can pick up the form in the lobby, and it's going through February 28th. So I'm hoping we can get people to contribute and be a part of that. It's greatly important for especially the Latino community here. So Nick, on the organic, last meeting we said here, they're going to send us all the list of what can go in that organic container. We didn't get it. Is there a way I can get a list of that? Because I still haven't used it. I'm pretty sure the trash people are pretty mad at me for not using it. So I'm just waiting for that list. That way I know what to tell my kids what to throw in there, what not to throw in there. Lastly, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to say September 25th is coming up, and that is our anniversary for the City of Desert Hot Springs 60th anniversary for incorporation. So I want to see what plans we have going on, if we're going to do anything for the city, if we're going to have a little celebration, what that looks like. Party time, huh?
Yeah, they've been planning it for about a year, so hopefully we can get an update soon on where we're at with that. That'd be great.
That's all I got.
Miss Pie.
That's a 3-day party, right?
Nothing.
Okay, we'll make it easy. I don't have a lot either, but I just wanted to say I was able to attend the Burger King ribbon cutting, which was nice. I know we always joke about businesses opening, especially fast food restaurants, but we always joke about how they're so busy that sometimes even our police departments got involved in traffic control sometimes. And so I talked to the owners that were there, and they were amazed by the reception that they received in Desert Hot Springs when they opened their business. They own 2 other fast food restaurants, one in Yucca Valley and one in Castillo City. And they have rights to another chain, and they said that they're definitely looking for land in Desert Hot Springs because of the process and how it went here. So that's good news. I also was invited by a member of the City Council in Castillo City, Nancy Ross, to sit on a Varner Road task force. She's invited some Palm Springs, she invited Desert Hot Springs, some members from the City Council, another member from the City Council, and some staff members from both cities, and some of the regional people from the Congressman's office, Assemblyman's office, and Coachella Valley Association of Governments. Anyways, long story. A lot of people there. It was nice to see that there's a focus on the Varner Road project which is in their city. A lot of people don't realize that. Varner Road, actually from Bob Hope Drive all the way through to the Desert Hot Springs cutoff, is actually Cathedral City. And a lot of times when it's in your city, if you don't get enough regional support, those roads, especially on the outskirts, go to waste, or not to waste, that was the wrong word. They go to disrepair because of all the focus you have within your community. And some of the biggest questions I get are, how do I get to Palm Springs when the roads are closed, and how do I get down Varner when the road's always in bad shape and packed? So I'm there to support as a regional guy who represents Desert Hot Springs in Riverside County Transportation and the Transportation Committee on CVAG, and I was able to give some suggestions. Our staff showed up. We had quite a few staff members there, and we were able to listen to what they're trying to accomplish and see how we could support them, which I think is important. Again, I get a lot of comments from our community because they use those roads to get in and out of our community. So we will keep plugging away and see if we can find some finance or some dollars out there and see if we can get those roads fixed. Little League, as everybody knows, I'm really active in Little League, but the city's taken over the program the last couple of years. They've done a fantastic job. Just want to put it back out there that registration is going on now. They had their first tryouts last weekend. Tryouts are again this Thursday and Saturday. So please come out, register if you can. You can register online, and then you do have to try out. And it's not to try out to see if you make it, it's just a tryout evaluation so you can be on which team you go on. I was asked, or not asked, I had on my calendar the Riverside County Transportation Annual Workshop. And every year, Riverside County Transportation comes to the Coachella Valley usually and has their annual workshop. Last couple of years, I think it was virtual, but this last year was back in Palm Springs, and we all met to talk about transportation needs and where we're going in the future. So the money that comes from the state comes down to the county through Riverside County Transportation, and it's funneled out to the local agencies. And there's a unique part of our county where Coachella Valley Association government gets 25% of that. And so with that said, you kind of have to plan where you're going with your transportation dollars in the future and what's happening in the future. And usually we get 2 days of workshops, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and they talk a lot at us is what they do. And this year was a lot about interacting in a workshop of goal setting for the future, which was really nice. It was talking about where electric vehicles are going. GM actually was the keynote speaker at the first day, and they talked about a lot of the electric vehicles and how they're required to take so many vehicles off the streets by a certain period of time in California. And then we talked as a organization where we're going to go in the future, and a lot of discussion on alternative routes in and around freeways and highways and interstates because of the shutdowns. A lot of times we just recently had that happen again. Twice, I think, in the last month with public safety shutdowns on our major interstate. And there was a lot of discussion on how to fund these major projects. There's billions of dollars of projects out there that need to be funded to make the roads more usable, or the highways more usable, and it just doesn't happen fast enough in funding. And you can only leverage so much. So how do you do that in the future? So we've set some goals to see what they'll come back with and see how we'll do that in the future. So it was actually a really good workshop to hear everybody. And every city in Riverside County has a seat, along with every supervisor, so all 5 supervisors. So very entertaining for the most part. I was actually asked to say a few words at the Mission Springs Water District's 70th anniversary, and thank you to President Martin out there from the Mission Springs Water District for inviting me. I was able to say a few words and introduce him. We're going to be 60, as the Mayor Pro Tem stated this year, and Water District is 70 years old. There's a lot of history here in Desert Hot Springs and government, and where we've come from such a small city to such a large city. And so it was really nice to see the people that came out last Friday to help celebrate. I sat in a Coachella Valley Association of Governments transportation meeting, and nothing pertained directly to Desert Hot Springs, but it was really an interesting conversation. A lot of you who have been paying attention know that the Coachella Valley Association of Governments is synchronizing the major intersections and thoroughfares throughout the Coachella Valley, and mainly starting on Highway 111. And that project's turned into each city will eventually have that is participating. Rancho Mirage is not participating in that program, but they are going to utilize their system and help connect with the regional system. But La Quinta was the first city to have their traffic operational center up and running, and it was really interesting to watch the presentation that was given by Eric there at CVAG on how that operational center is working and how it worked during the Ironman race and how it's going to move traffic faster and better in certain areas and certain times. And so each city might not have the most elaborate traffic operations center as, I shouldn't say theirs is elaborate, but it was really nice. It's a really great opportunity for the Coachella Valley to see the way they're organizing and working regionally to move the traffic and make sure that it's not going to be stalled and the air quality in our valley will stay hopefully cleaner than it would have been if we did not do this project. So millions and millions of dollars coming down the pipe. So really nice. And then finally, I was able to, as a lot of you know, we were doing this clean up our community beautification. Mayor Pro Tem and I have been working on this for this last year. It's three-pronged. It's getting out to our businesses, helping them with grants, helping certain neighborhoods with the grants, and then what we focus on is the school cleanup and educational portion of it with Desert Valley Disposal. Desert Valley Disposal came in a week ago and did a presentation at Two Bunch Palms Elementary School, and I want to thank Jim Nadell. He's in the audience back there. Wave, Jim. You're famous. There you go. And then Jackie, she's Devereaux. She's not here tonight, but both of them help coordinate this, and we work with different principals and go and educate the kids on what is recyclable, what's organic waste, and what's trash. And then they pull up a dumpster, and we go out and we clean up some trash. I drove up to Two Bunch Palms Elementary, and last time Mayor Pro Tem was able to sit in and help with that program up at Bella Vista and Desert Springs Middle School. I was out of town, and then this time he was finishing up AYSO, so I took over this one. You pull up, and it doesn't look so bad, right? Until you get out of the car and you grab that bag and you start walking around and you see the trash that's in the ground and embedded in the desert around the school. We saw one shopping cart. We ended up finding 5 all around the school, and then we picked up and filled up that bin in 55 minutes. Now, I can't take all the credit. I think I only filled up 2 bags. About 5 minutes after we did our little speech and we started to go out, a small bus pulled up with about 15 Marines from 29 Palms Marine Base. And they got out, and there was a teacher there whose husband runs a nonprofit organization to help clean up neighborhoods, and he brought down 15 Marines from the base, and they went out there and did a bulk of the work. So I wanted to thank them. We had about 5 or 6 students out there with their parents, and so it was really nice. 2 hour. We slated for 2 hours. We were done in 55 minutes. We filled that dumpster up. So pretty cool. And then we'll be moving over to Desert Hot Springs High School before spring break, and then we're going to try to squeeze in one more school before the school year ends, before we take a break for the summer. So really, really proud of this program. I know code enforcement is working real hard in finalizing the business portion of it and now the residential portion of it. So I think it's all coming together, and I want to thank the council for supporting our vision here with the $500,000 towards this program to help clean up our community. And I said I didn't have much, and I talked for about 10 minutes, sorry. But with that said, we are going to move to our agenda now, and our first part of our agenda is the public hearing, and this will be item number 4 on our agenda. This is the extension of an urgency interim ordinance adopting a moratorium on the issuance of any license, permit, or entitlement that is a use other than the ones listed in this ordinance as Exhibit A for any business located in the downtown area near City Hall, solely within the zoning district of C-D, which is commercial district, specifically bounded by First Street to the north, Buena Vista Avenue to the south, Mesquite Avenue to the east, and Cactus Drive to the west. This is also noted as the downtown area.
And Mr. Mayor, before we get started, hearing those coordinates, my wife and I have a hair salon that happens to be, I think, ground zero from the coordinates you gave. We're at 12084 Palm Drive, and so I will recuse because I could have a financial conflict there.
Great. Mr. Bessero, as soon as he leaves the room, it's all yours.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we have today is the downtown moratorium extension. So as noted, the downtown is bounded by the streets Buena Vista, Mesquite, Cactus, and West. A little bit of background, and you guys have seen this presentation before, but we'll go over the bullet points here. Part of our general plan does emphasize the need for providing a downtown that's a central business district, serves as a key area for local businesses, government functions, and public gatherings. These downtown areas are the lifeblood of the communities. The downtown area really has to play a critical role in bringing together residents to shop, socialize, and share a collective experience in the city. We as well currently have a downtown steering committee formed by the mayor that is giving input for what they would like to see in the downtown, along with various other stakeholders. We as well are partnered up with Cal Poly, getting a downtown specific plan developed with all of the input from the various stakeholders. This downtown really should be a main focal point of food, beverage, entertainment, and cannabis. The discussion here is the proposed ordinance would extend the temporary suspension of processing any incomplete application or approval of any permit, entitlement, or license within the downtown area for those uses as described in Exhibit A. On January 17, 2023, City Council approved and urged the interim ordinance adopting a moratorium for an initial term of 45 days. If approved today by Council, the proposed extension of the urgency ordinance will extend the moratorium for a period of up to 22 months and 15 days for a total of 2 years. The public report has been provided as a supplemental report, and it goes over the staff work that has been going on with this moratorium. Exhibit A lists out various uses which will continue to be allowed under the moratorium. These uses really again, revolve around restaurants, bars, breweries, and cannabis, farmers markets, so on and so forth, that really help bring the community together. Here's just a snapshot of the permitted uses table. And as you see, what's shown in red with a strike through is what would be temporarily prohibited with this urgency moratorium. The City Council would find that the adoption of this urgency interim ordinance is exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Title 14 California Code of Regulations, Section 15061, subsection B3, and that the proposed ordinance involves a proactive measure to prohibit certain uses within the downtown area and does not have the potential to significantly impact the environment. Recommendation is that adopted by a 4/5 vote and read by title only, an extension of an urgency interim ordinance of the City Council of the City of Desert Hot Springs adopting a moratorium on the issuance of any license, permit, or entitlement that is a use other than the ones listed in the ordinance as Exhibit A for any businesses located in the downtown area near City Hall solely within the zoning district of the CD Commercial Downtown, specifically bounded by First Street to the north, Buena Vista Avenue to the south, Mesquite Avenue to the east, and Cactus Drive to the west, otherwise known as the downtown area. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great. Do you have questions of staff? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if this will go to our city attorney or to Eric there, but two questions on this one. We're extending the emergency moratorium that we passed last time. Now it will go for a total of 2 years. At the end of that 2 years, if we don't do anything, does it just vanish into the ether and reverts back?
Yes, it'll revert back because there's a sunset date of the 2 years.
Okay, so when it reverts back, it goes back to what it was before the urgency.
That is
ordinance.
correct.
Okay, so on that note, I'm hoping that it doesn't take us 2 years to develop our plan for downtown, and we get the developed plan for downtown, we can go back then and re-amend that to reflect what we have decided on what our downtown is going to be like.
So that's correct, and that's why the Exhibit A, which was accidentally omitted, we provided to council, and that is the report that says kind of what exactly we are working on, and once those either a specific plan or kind of whatever plan we're kind of working on, or staff's working on, I should say, for the downtown, it'll come obviously before the city council, and then we could go ahead and redo the zoning, development standards, et cetera, pursuant to either a specific plan or some other plan that the city council places in place.
And then that would be the permanent one going
Correct.
forward.
That is
Okay.
correct.
That's it, thank you.
Just one question, Madam Attorney. We couldn't ask for an extension for this extension after the 2 years?
That is correct. We're limited to the 2 years. We could always move it forward, meaning if it was a year and a half or something like that, but 2 years is the maximum.
Ms. Pye, anything? All right, move to open a public hearing at this time. We'll take any testimonies or anybody would like to give any testimony to this in favor, against, or in neutral position. Please state your position, Mr. Mullen.
My name is Tom Moen, 44-year resident, and I have a neutral position, but I was at that Cal Poly exhibit, as was Councilmember Pye, and I was highly impressed with the students, but they had one idea that gave me a bunch of extra gray hair. And that idea was, in other communities, they had a penalty for buildings that had been vacant too long of $250 per linear foot per year tax penalty on the landlords. And I shocked those young people. I said, you know, it ought to be the other way around. The city ought to offer the businessman $5,000 if they can rent the place out to subsidize that rent. And their eyes got big and they said, oh, you're in favor of positive reinforcement. And I said, of course I am, and you should too, because penalties like that do not make a friendly environment for business. And I would just like to add that whatever we're doing, we need to have a positive business influence from our city, because good businesses attract good customers, attract people to the city. That's what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to give any testimony? Please state your position, in favor, against, or neutral position, and you can begin your time.
I would say I am in a neutral position.
Perfect.
I just want to kind of echo the gentleman's remarks, because I too was at the Cal Poly event there, and I liked a lot of their ideas, especially like the Paseo idea. And they're like, we need to make easements, and we already have them, and we can, two birds with one stone, knock out those easements along Palm Drive, you know, behind the AutoZone and everything, and turn that into a pretty Paseo. And that would be a good place to do some farmers marketing. I don't know, maybe. But anyways, I like that idea. But I was also shocked, like, at the punitive, like, ideas and suggestions coming from Cal Poly. I would like to echo that comment there. Like, I too was like, whoa, hold your horses on that. You know, we already have an issue, right? Like, as far as vacant buildings and all that goes, we need to make it real attractive for businesses. And if there's like, we need to get down to the root of the problem as to why there's vacant buildings in the first place, you know? So anyways, if it's already unattractive, then saying, you know, here, you got some, you know, you can only do this kind of business, and I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to do a rant and go on. So thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll close the public hearing at this time. We'll move to city council discussion. Questions to staff? Anyone else?
No, I'll make a motion.
Hold on, I got a question down.
Oh, sorry.
Comment. To those that have do not agree with the Cal Poly, that's okay. Our staff is coming back with us about what the suggestions are and the suggestions that they're not taking. So don't take that whatever Cal Poly told you is what we're going to do. I'm done.
Sorry about that. I'll make a motion then that we extend the moratorium, adopting the ordinance there we go. The extension of the urgency interim ordinance, adopting the moratorium on the issuance of licenses, permits, and entitlements in the downtown area.
I'll second.
There is a motion and a second. We'll make from moved on the screen there. If there's no further discussion, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously for the adoption of an extension of an urgency interim ordinance of the City Council of the City of Desert Hot Springs, adopting a moratorium on the issuance of any license, permit, or entitlement that is a use other than the ones listed in the ordinance as Exhibit A for any business located in downtown area near City Hall solely within the zoning district of commercial downtown, specifically bounded by First Street to the north, Buena Vista Avenue to the south, Mesquite Avenue to the east, and Cactus Drive to the west. The urgency interim ordinance goes into effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. We will call back Mr. Betts. And we'll move to the administrative calendar, which is item number 5. It's a continue from January 17, 2023, the City Council appointments to the City Commissions. Mr. City Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item was on the January 17th agenda, at which time the City Council directed staff to bring back the item this evening to ratify the appointments of the proposed commissioners who were unable to attend at that meeting. So in the audience, I believe we have James Nandel for the Planning Commission, and for the Public Safety Commission, we have Donald Lozano, Jose Trejo, and Kenneth Mitchell.
I do see all 4 of them in the audience. At this time, we will take any public comments on this item. I see nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments. Is there anyone on the City Council who would like to ask any of the commissioners to step forward for any kind of questioning?
Have a question, yes, I do.
For a commissioner or just?
Yeah, well, it relates to the Planning Commission, so there's only one. If could put James Nandel on the spot.
Mr. Nandel, he always loves to speak on the mic. He's a...
And so, thanks. So a question comes up from time to time on the time to prep for an agenda. And sometimes your agenda packet is 1,500 pages. Recently, there was one that was 4,500 pages and quite complicated. And I believe we're given maybe 4 days, 3 days to read that. Do you consider that sufficient time to study and get your head around an agenda item when it's that big, or would you think it'd be better if staff provided you more time?
As long as you have a lot of time with the city staff for your private meeting, you know, the Monday, in my case, it's Monday mornings before the Planning Commission meeting. It's as long as you take advantage of that and ask a lot of questions, which I do. I walk out of it having a pretty good understanding of what I'm looking at and confirming my understandings of what I read and misconceptions, correcting those. In the best world, you know, if you had a week, yes, that'd be great. But it's the same problem that all of you have. And I think we take your lead to a certain extent. That, I mean, I do. Just read it. I got to, you know, I sequester myself in my room for a couple days and read.
And we get a advanced look on the council. You know, we got a board all around this place that gives the issues that are ahead. Do you get that as a planning commissioner? You're on there now, so you know this.
Yeah, well, the week before the meeting, you know, the Thursday or Friday before the meeting, we see the agenda for the first time.
Okay, so we get.
I mean, we see the agenda, but I mean, we see the documentation for the first time. But again, you know, if we could get it earlier, that'd be great. But you know, I've been dealing with it. All along. I think all of us have.
Thank you for engaging me in that. I know it's a little bit out of the ordinary, Mr. Mayor. At the time it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion to approve all of the.
Is there any other questions for any of the commissioners?
Yeah, just add a comment. Not for you, Mr. Merlin, for
thank you.
My appointee.
Sure.
I didn't get a chance to last term when I got elected to introduce the appointee I have for the Public Safety Committee, and the knowledge and experience that he brings to the city and to this committee. So I'll see if he can come up and give a talk about himself a little bit. And I love to hear him speak because he sounds like Barry White, but that's just like.
Well, Chief Beverland and I like Kenneth because of his background. And what's your background, Kenneth?
49er fan. No, in all seriousness, I'm a retired firefighter. I was 32 years in the fire service, 4 years volunteer, 28 paid from San Mateo County and the city and county of San Francisco. I served 21 years on the San Mateo County Hazardous Materials Response Team. and I was a kind of an impromptu instructor in that program and led the charge to expand its authority and scope of practice. I had a special interest in emergency medical service. My all-time dream was to become a paramedic. It didn't come to fruition, but I was able to spearhead the fire company ALS program in San Mateo County, which ultimately placed a paramedic on every engine in that county. A significant change to the emergency medical delivery. And I was also the spearheaded prior to that for the early defibrillation program in the fire department, which was interesting to me because the very first day it went into service, it saved a gentleman's life by using early defibrillation technology. So the department that I worked for was unique in that it was a small geographic area, but it touched into just about every facet of fire suppression and protection. It had canyon lands, it had wildlands, it had a general aviation airport, it had a major highway passing through it, it had an active railroad, and we actually had high-rises that were adjacent to us in the community of Redwood Shore. So even though we only had jurisdiction of 9 square miles and a population that varied around 56,000 people, we were able to see things from the perspective of someone that maybe worked in Los Angeles or San Diego or a larger municipality, and was quite fortunate.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
I just noticed
Thank you.
that he obviously is a fireman because he said fire engine.
Yes.
We had this discussion earlier when a few of us referred to the vehicle out there as a
We're
truck.
sitting there having dinner, and they kept going fire truck. I said, we're not buying a fire truck. We bought a fire engine.
So there, you scored a big one there because you obviously are a fireman. You had the right term.
So he has your vote now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you. And thank you to all the individuals that are here tonight. We're sorry that we had to do it over 2 different nights to get everyone here, but that's our process. So thank you for your service. I know that Donna Lozano back there, she doesn't need any introduction. She's been my representative for many years, and she'll continue to serve. So, and Jose, I know you've done a fantastic job serving our community. So thank you to all 4 of you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Jose. He
Already
got
did.
to introduce
Sorry.
his.
Already did it.
Jose, please stand up. And Jose doesn't sound like Barry White.
Good evening, everybody. So first of all, I want to thank everybody, Mayor Scott Mattis and council members. I want to thank you for an excellent job that you guys do all the time. I've been in the city for almost 17 years, and I've just seen this city grow and bloom under you guys' leadership. So thank you for that. I am in the healthcare industry, but I used to be in the commission before. Many years ago, but I'm ready to again work hard for you guys and learn from you guys. So I'm just here to make the city bloom again with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Jose. And everybody got to speak. Donna, did you want to say anything? I mean, I know you're really shy.
But while she's walking up here, my appointee was appointed last time, and he didn't get a chance to speak. But we now have another commissioner. My appointee is Martin Mitchell. So we have 2 Mitchells on there now. We're going to have to call you M&M, but other than that.
Well, I was going to raise my hand if you didn't say something.
I know way better. I know way better.
Well, I was here since before, since our mayor was a toddler, I think. I've been here since '62, and I've seen it from nothing to something, and I just want to say I'm always proud to be part of something in here, and that you still keep the memory of my mother who co-founded Little League and did so many community things. Maria Richardson Field is my mother. And of course, the way you honored me with my son's murder with the name of the community center, Henry Lozano, that's my son. And I just love all of you, and I thank you again for another reappointment, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you again to all 4 of you for coming out tonight. Is there a motion to ratify these appointments?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve all appointees or nominees to the Planning Commission and the Public Safety Commission in one motion.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. If there's no more discussion, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. You guys can hang out the rest of the night if you like, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Item 6 is this support for the... Yeah.
One thing, public safety, you're meeting on the 9th. Okay.
So you got 2 days to prepare. Item number 6 is the support for the proposed Chuckawalla National Monument and expansion of Joshua Tree National Park. Mr. Soriano?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to turn it over to Katie Barrows, who will present the staff report and answer any questions the council may have.
Hi, Katie.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Katie Barrows. I'm a retired person who likes to support their community, just like all the wonderful folks in Desert Hot Springs. And I just want to say, having been involved with the city in the past, when my prior work with CVAG, it's really great to come here and see how great things are happening in Desert Hot Springs. I've always really appreciated the community spirit that I felt whenever I came here to a council meeting, and that's very evident tonight, as always, so I just want to make that comment. Let's see, I'm going to try to go through this quickly and maybe not go into great detail with regard to the staff report. Thanks, Gerald. But I would like to just give you a little bit of background. This is a proposal to establish a new national monument in the eastern part of Riverside County and Imperial County. And in a minute, I'll show you a map just to give you kind of a quick introduction. This is an effort that's actually been underway for probably more than a year, at least several years, by a group of organizations, a coalition that I will share with you as we finish this brief proposal. But I think it's a very exciting opportunity. I won't steal Councilmember Gardner's description. Maybe you can share that with the group. But it's a very exciting opportunity to bring some additional natural open spaces, community opportunities for recreation, and I think a plus for all of our communities here in the Valley. So with that, I just want to give you a quick overview and kind of a little bit of a tour. This is an area, I'll come to the map in just a moment, but essentially a group of entities and local communities that are working together to preserve some important public lands in Riverside and Imperial counties. I'm sorry, this is actually Painted Canyon. If you haven't been there, we've got some amazing geological areas in the eastern part of the county that are just pretty incredible. You either think you're on Mars or in the middle of a Star Wars movie, or just, you know, kind of really incredible places to visit. And one thing nice about this area, as you see with the parked cars, it's very accessible. You can drive there in a vehicle, and there's a place where folks do a lot of like picnicking and family events. So I'll come back to that in a moment. A national monument is a federal designation that sets aside lands that have national significance, either for cultural, historic, ecological, or scientific purposes. And this is actually a federal designation that is made either by Congress or potentially by the president through what's called a presidential proclamation. Now, you're already familiar here in Desert Hot Springs with the Sand to Snow National Monument, which was designated by President Obama. And we also have the Santa Rosa and San Jacinto Mountains National Monument at the southern end of the valley. And actually, the Joshua Tree National Park started out as a national monument as well. So it's very exciting for us to have these great places. I think certainly for Desert Hot Springs, wonderful to be in the backyard of the Sand to Snow. And this proposal actually has several elements. One of those is to establish a new national monument called the Chuckawalla National Monument, to do a small expansion of Joshua Tree National Park, to safeguard some really interesting World War II historical sites that go back to the days of General Patton, and in particular to recognize the significance of these lands to our Native American indigenous people and to honor and protect those areas for that reason. Additionally, it would ask for the Bureau of Land Management, the federal agency who is responsible for these lands, to do a study of recreational needs, really involving the community in that effort. And this is a map that shows you the area that is proposed. It's a pretty large area that really starts on the east side of the Coachella Canal and kind of connects Joshua Tree National Park to some existing BLM wilderness areas. I don't think I can point on this, but most of this land is Bureau of Land Management land. The National Monument designation would only apply to the federal BLM lands. It does not apply to private lands or other public lands, either state or others. So it is one that focuses on those public lands and essentially takes lands that are currently owned by BLM and gives them another level of protection, but also hopefully more resources, because that's definitely a need for this area. I also want to note in the southern area, you'll see the hatched, sort of a brown area that's hatched. That's the Chocolate Mountains Aerial Gunnery Range, which is owned by the Department of Defense. They do a lot of training out there. And we have spoken to the Department of Defense, and they actually really like this idea because it gives them kind of a buffer to the bombing and other activities that happen in the aerial gunnery range. Kind of a Top Gun area sometimes. If you're out in that area, you'll see the pilots practicing out in the range. There's also in the northern part of the slide, the top part of the slide, a blue area. This is a proposed expansion to Joshua Tree National Park in the Eagle Mountain area, the Eagle Mountain Mine. This is a proposal that was put forward by the Park Service, the National Park Service, and also would avoid those areas that have been proposed for a pump storage project, if you're familiar with that. So it's one that is compatible with the existing uses and also private property rights. Another aspect of this is the boundary was drawn to avoid any of the areas which are set aside under a federal plan called the Desert Renewable Energy Conservation Plan, or DRECP, a great acronym. This is an area actually on the north side of the freeway that shows some of the existing renewable energy development out there, and this boundary for the National Monument completely avoids those, so there's no conflict between our expansion of renewable energy and protection of some of these areas. And I think one of the things that's really a focus for this effort is really the opportunities and the outdoor recreation. I'm just going to give you kind of a quick tour of some of those. There's some spectacular areas. Corn Spring is a BLM campground area, which also has some amazing petroglyphs or rock art sites. There's wonderful habitat for wildlife, a great place for hiking and camping. One of the nice things about BLM properties is they have campgrounds, and you can essentially camp. It doesn't have to be in a developed camp area, and in many cases there are no fees for those campsites, so it's really a great place for our communities, especially underserved communities, to appreciate. Box Canyon is a beautiful area that connects Mecca with the Highway 10. This is a view. We're going to be looking at wildflowers, hopefully like this. Desert Hot Springs is always a great place to see wildflowers, and we anticipate with the rains we've had this spring will look something like this in a few weeks and months. It's also a place where folks can go hiking, ride bicycles, enjoy this beautiful canyon. It's a pretty incredible geologically rich area. Within Box Canyon and in that same vicinity is Painted Canyon, which is another really amazing, right along the San Andreas Fault. Very popular hiking trails in Painted Canyon, amazing rock formations, and also, as I mentioned, a great place for families to have Sunday picnics or campouts. Easily accessible, and that's another aspect of this. We want to really cater to a lot of diverse kinds of outdoor recreation. Ladder Canyon is a very popular spot for the hikers. We climb up these ladders. Those are maintained by the Coachella Valley Hiking Club, and everybody who has been to Ladder Canyon, you get into a slot canyon. It's something like you'd see if you were in Utah. Hidden Springs, another important site for wildlife and another place that folks can hike to in the Box Canyon area. And another aspect of this, there are a lot of designated routes where vehicles or OHVs can go. And the Bradshaw Trail is a backcountry byway, which is a place that's enjoyed by, it does require four-wheel drive, but it takes you across the desert between here and Wiley Well in the Blythe area. Wildflowers, I mentioned, there are some very rare plants that grow out there, but some spectacular places to view flowers. I know I teach at College of the Desert, and I take my students out there every spring. We'll be going out there in a few weeks. Wildlife viewing, very important wildlife habitat for a lot of critters, including bighorn sheep and desert tortoise. And also connection points under the freeway. There's a lower picture in the lower right of a desert tortoise. We want to make sure that the wildlife can move back and forth under the freeway from Joshua Tree National Park into these BLM areas. And interestingly, there is a plan to reintroduce pronghorn antelope into the area. So it'd be kind of cool in the future. We might be able to drive out on Interstate 10 and see a pronghorn antelope. I mentioned the historic sites, Camp Young, which is a site that General Patton used during the training he did in World War II for desert training. And it's pretty neat when you go out there. You can find evidence of those activities and kind of a lot of rock-lined paths and other evidence of the thousands of troops that spent some time out there and camping in the desert working with General Patton. Other places that are of interest, there's a rock hounding site at a geode beds that's out further to the east. So a whole, I'm not going to go through all of those, but a whole range of different kinds of outdoor activities that folks can experience. And this talks a little bit, there has been some studies done about the benefits of national monuments to surrounding communities with restaurants, lodging, camping. We've looked at that promise for Desert Hot Springs with the Santa Snow in your neighborhood. And that's something else that's been found, that these areas end up resulting in an 8 to 10% increase in jobs and small businesses that cater to tourists. So we have actually gotten a letter of support from Desert Adventures. You might know them, the Red Jeep Tours. They're very excited about this proposal. These are the organizations that are involved locally. It's organizations like the Wildlands Conservancy, the Friends of the Desert Mountains, Latino Outdoors, the Hispanic Access Foundation, and a whole group of organizations that are proposing this effort. Ultimately, it will require our Congressman Ruiz, whose district this would occur in, to bring forward legislation and or work with the president to have a proclamation done, similar to what was done with Santa Snow. We're working on that and trying to move that forward, hopefully in the next year, in order to move things along before 2024, when the opportunities might be less viable. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Great.
Before we do that, let's take any public comments, and then I'll let the council open up. Is there anybody who would like to speak to this item?
Hello, my name is Andrew Keat. I've been a Coachella Valley resident for the first 23 years of my life. I left town for about 10 years, but I've been back for a little over a year now. I've actually taken Katie's native plants class. I am a current student at COD. And recently I've been hired on as a tribal ranger at the Indian and Tahquitz Canyons. So I do see firsthand how many people are attracted to places like this. Many of the guests at the canyons mention Joshua Tree National Park, and I do believe that with the designation of a national monument, it would just shed greater attention to these areas that Katie mentioned, and it would bring in a lot of extra tourism to the area and extended tourism. The people that are visiting the canyons in Joshua Tree would extend their stays to make sure that they check out these sites. As she mentioned, it's very important for the wildlife and the plants in the area to have these designations. So I completely support the designation of the national monument. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hello, good evening, City Council members. My name is Yasuko Smith, and I am currently a full-time student at College of the Desert and also employed there. I'm also a tutor. So I just currently, I am also a club president. I've been club president for several different clubs at our college. And part of the club experience is taking our students, College of the Desert students, out to the community, out to different preserves, out to different national monuments, and my specialty is geology and environmental science. So I'm very passionate about conservation, and one of the things that I really like to do is introduce a lot of students to our natural area that is around here. It's kind of amazing to me how many students grow up never really stepping outside into the desert. And so when we go out there, when we go and we do our Weed Warrior volunteering, and we go and we do cleanups for the college and the clubs and the students to get firsthand experience of not just enjoying wilderness out, as it is, but also contributing and being part of the solution. And, while we're out there enjoying this natural beauty, to also pick up trash as we walk along these paths. And so designating the Chuck Wall National Monument would be absolutely fantastic, because I already take a lot of students on a lot of the trails that are out there, like the Indio Badland trails that was just newly designated, and the Mecca Ladders. That is just one of, if you haven't done it yet, I strongly suggest you going out there and giving it a try, because it is absolutely amazing. And for students to be able to go out there and see these places and recognize that it's a national monument, or this is a protected land, this is things that not is only important to us, but is important to our government, to our city, and to the welfare of our community, because ultimately our economy is built on a tourism type economy. A lot of people don't come out here to the desert because they like 125-degree weather. They come out here for the hot springs, for the hiking trails. We have more than 120 designated trails in our valley, and including Chuckwalla National Monument would just greatly increase the tourism. Between 2011 to 2022, Joshua Tree and other national monuments around our valley increased by 119%. That was more than $350 million in revenue that was brought into the Coachella Valley and the surrounding areas, because we already have a national monument. So promoting these other national monuments and increasing the land use for the public and showing that we care, that we are interested, would be a fantastic thing. And I'm very proud to be a DHS citizen, and I feel like that the City Council will totally support this, because it would be beneficial to everyone, and especially to all the people that have been here before us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this item?
Hi, me again. All right, I really am passionate about the environment, and I'm glad that y'all are here, and I definitely am in super support of this. In particular, in my free time, I am a member of the CBN, the California Biodiversity Network, and we worked on Appendix D, which is like bringing the working lands and the conservancy missions to California and leading the way in that. 30 by 30 is big. I mean, it's not just California, it's not just USA, it's a global mission type thing. So if you haven't heard of it, 30 by 30, it's an initiative. 30% should be conservative lands on Earth. And so California, we're trying to get this going on. And so we're currently working on just trying to create curriculum that involves traditional educational knowledge, indigenous, local ways to conserve the lands. Anyway, so I'm really in support of this, because we're going to be conservative lands anyway, so we just might as well jump on the train and get started with it, because we've got a lot of BLM land in DHS as well. So if we support this on the eastern Coachella Valley, they need our support. We need to unite as the western and eastern Coachella Valley, and this is a great start. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this item? All right, we'll close public comments this time. I'll take any comments. Mr. Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, this is something that is absolutely spectacular and amazing. And I think everybody on council, and virtually everybody in the city, knows my passion for outdoor activities and conservation land and national parks. And I could talk for hours about this, but I promise that I won't. I had the opportunity to do an aerial tour of the proposed Chuckwalla National Monument a 3 weeks ago. And aside from getting in a plane that was the size of a Volkswagen, which was terribly uncomfortable, it was an absolutely gorgeous overall view. And it convinced me even more of the importance of conserving this land for future generations and for outdoor recreation. But as I was flying around up there, it dawned on me, as we're up there and we're looking over Chuckwalla and Joshua Tree, that if this proposed national monument goes through, the Coachella Valley will be the only place in the United States that will be completely surrounded by national monuments or national parks. So if we start over at Santa Rosa, move over to Joshua Tree here, right behind us, over to Joshua Tree, and we have Chuckwalla, this valley is completely surrounded. There is no place else in the United States where that is. And that will be a significant tourist draw here. And we all saw the studies we did a couple of years ago showing that the biggest tourist draws here in the future are going to be outdoor recreation and things like that. This puts our city, even though this national monument doesn't touch our city, it puts us square in the middle of that movement. And we're backing up to Sand to Snow, which celebrates its 7-year anniversary this coming week. It's right in our backyard. The Patton area over there where he was doing his desert training is absolutely amazing to go at, especially from an aerial view. You see the bomb craters, you see where Patton's pulpit was, where he directed all of that. This will be something really, really spectacular and very important for the city. And our, support of this will go to Dr. Ruiz and his office, and hopefully that will help spur other cities and other organizations to back this, and we'll have the groundswell of public support that will help convince Dr. Ruiz and the Congress and President Biden to conserve these lands. So I would really hope that my fellow council members will enthusiastically support this.
Is that a motion?
I can be if the rest of you don't want to yet
Well,
chime in.
let's get a second. I know there's some other comments, but. All right, there's a motion and a second. Mr. Betts?
Yeah, but Katie, can I ask you a question? So I sat on the board of the California Desert Coalition, and we worked on conservation issues. And you would think that there would be considerable animus between, say, a group like the California Desert Coalition and the off-road vehicle groups. But in our conversations there, we recognized that if there wasn't land set aside for the off-road vehicles, they were going to find areas that we considered very necessary to protect. So the question is, I think you mentioned something about recreational needs, but does this include, is this shutting off any existing recreational areas for off-road vehicles? Is it accommodating them? What's the thinking on this?
Great question. I think the answer is that at least the proponents of this proposal would not recommend any changes to the existing uses. We recognize that there's diverse ways of enjoying the outdoors, and there are both, like I say, these national roadways like the Bradshaw Trail and others, and as well as some OHV areas that are managed by BLM. So those would not be changed really by this proposal.
Okay, and you talked about car access for people who maybe can't get out and go hike to the top of a mountain. So this is, if anybody's out there thinking that this is like another land grab by these crazy environmentalists, well, it is to protect the area, but it's not shutting everything off, right?
No, not at all. I think the idea is really to enhance the awareness of these opportunities and get folks out to enjoy it, especially communities who maybe don't have that opportunity as much. And also hopefully to bring more resources to the BLM so that they can, provide more signage and rangers and management.
I'm fully in support. We have something in here in the city called the Multi-Species Habitat Conservation Area that is, integral to our city. And, there's a lot of commotion back then when people were saying, well, we don't want this. But what's going to happen is 50 years from now, 100 years from now, you're still going to be able to see what this place looked like. And so that's part, I think, what's going on here. So I wholeheartedly support this, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I would. So for me, I think the question is, what does this mean? What does the designation mean? Because, yes, if you may, because like Scirocco Summit, if they decided to, if this goes into play, Scirocco Summit decides to grow someday, build houses, would this stop them? What would the process be for them to grow? For Eagle Mountain, if they did do the hydrogen pump and whatnot, what does that mean for them? Would they have to go through bureaucracy and go to Congress and get, appealing? So this is the questions I have. And as an indigenous person that do ceremonies in the middle of the desert, what does this mean for me? If I ever wanted to go do a peyote ceremony, if I wanted to do a sweat lodge, if I ever wanted to do any kind of ceremony out in the desert, what does that mean for me? Do I have to get approval by the BLM? What is the process?
Right.
So this is the questions I have, and I don't feel comfortable making a judgment tonight. I would rather sit with Congressman Raul Reese to see what would the process look like. Going to Blythe, I drive to Blythe maybe 2 times a week and seeing those solar panels out there. I know there's future use for those. I know there's a lot of expansion. What does that mean for them? So there's a lot of questions I have that are not answered here. And it's kind of hard for me to make a decision for my brothers and sisters in Mecca and Thermo Coachella because they use those. And I know the residents of Mecca use Box Canyon for ceremonies. They go out there as a family to go have campfires. What does that mean for them?
Sure.
So these are the questions I have. So I mean, I couldn't support this right now until I got clarity. There's no doubt in my mind that some conservation does need to be done, but at what extent and what is the process to remedy some of the things that we're talking about. So I would wait. So I would have to vote no for right now. Of course, not going against it, but that's.
And perhaps I might try to answer a couple of your questions. They're very good questions and important ones. I think this would apply to existing Bureau of Land Management or BLM lands that are already owned by the federal agencies. It does not apply to private land, to other state land, to any of the lands that might be owned by utilities or others. All of those would stay the same. It's very much like with the Sand to Snow or Santa Rosa and San Jacinto Mountains National Monument. There's private land. You have the community of the Pinyon area up in the mountains, and all of that. All of those private lands, people can still build houses or whatever they would choose to do. So those would certainly be governed by existing rules and regulations of the county and laws and so forth, but it doesn't apply to any other lands but the federal BLM lands. So the answer to that is it wouldn't change. With respect to the pump storage project, that is really one where the lands that are potentially involved in that are not included in this proposal purposely. We didn't want to interfere with that proposal, and it's my understanding that the developers of that may consider actually donating some of the land they don't need at a point in the future. But they've worked with the Park Service to come up with what's agreeable, and so it wouldn't affect that proposal either. I think I really appreciate your question about the indigenous opportunities to have access. I think that I'll have to say, having been involved as a volunteer in this coalition, that's probably one of the most important reasons that folks are pursuing this effort. The Native American Land Conservancy is very involved, and I think there's definitely a recognition that those landscapes and those lands are important for just the reasons that you mentioned. And very much there's a lot of effort now being done to reach out to and explain and get an understanding for our local tribes. Meetings are being held and have been held with the local tribes. And also, I think we are going to be asking other communities like the city of Coachella, actually the Mecca and Oasis Community Council had a presentation last week, I think it was, and my understanding is that they were favorable to writing a letter of support. But we will be going out, just like we've done here, to going to those folks as well and letting them know about this proposal. We're really at a point of, and I should mention at this stage, it's still, once it goes to Dr. Ruiz, and if he agrees to go forward, there will can be another process and an ongoing opportunity for public input and those concerns and all of that. So it's not by any means, kind of at the end point. It's really, this time was to let the community know about the proposal, and then also where it was appropriate, ask for support. Hopefully that helps.
Any other comments or questions before we vote? All right, please vote.
Motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Nunez opposed.
Thank you very much. I'll move to item number 7, which is the award of the construction contract for the construction of the Guy J. Tedesco Park Restrooms Replacement Project, federal project number 4.DHS.34-21, city project number 4015. Mr. Hager?
Ashley B. Chilling.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Recently, the City of Desert Hot Springs has had an increase in vandalism, security issues, and proper functionality of the restroom facilities at Tedesco Park. The restroom facility is currently operational. However, the city began looking into potential options for upgrades, improvements, and replacements for the existing restrooms. Based on factors such as the existing conditions, total costs, and ultimate life expectancy of the structure, the restroom replacement option was determined to be the best alternative. The city obtained approval for the Community Development Block Grant CDBG award in the amount of $291,000 towards the cost of the Tedesco restroom replacement for fiscal year 21-22. Additionally, a total of $246,935 was reprogrammed from the 2019-2020 award year, resulting in a total of $537,935 of CDBG funds for the Tedesco Park restroom replacement. The city entered into an agreement with Herman Design Group for the design, plan, preparation, specifications, and engineer's estimate for the construction of the Tedesco restrooms. Here is a picture of the restroom design. The existing restroom will be removed, and this design will be constructed in the same location as the existing restrooms. On December 12, 2022, the request for proposal for construction of the Tedesco restroom replacement project was released, and the notice inviting bids was posted to the city's website, the local newspaper, and Planet Reprographics. On January 11, 2023, the city received 5 bids that were reviewed. Based upon the review, staff determined that the lowest responsive bidder was Abood Diamond Construction Incorporated in the amount of $658,500. Abood Diamond Construction met all the necessary qualifications, and their references were verified. Staff is recommending that the City Council award the construction contract agreement to the lowest responsive bidder, Abood Diamond Construction Incorporated, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement by and between Abood Diamond Construction Incorporated and the City of Desert Hot Springs for the construction of the Guy J. Tedesco Park Restroom Replacement Project, Federal Project Number 4.DHS.34-21, City Project Number 4015 in the amount of $658,500 and approve a 10% contingency amount of $65,850, which brings the total project budget to $724,350. This concludes my report, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Anybody in the audience would like to speak to this item? See nobody coming forth. Mr. Gardner?
Yes. Couple of quick questions for you. This is a project that's been a long time coming and a long time at the top of my wish list because I go through Tedesco Park virtually every morning. And the current facility is completely unacceptable. I'm getting a nod over here from the Mayor Pro Tem. It's ready to fall apart. So do we have, assuming we pass this today, what's our timeline on start of construction and opening up?
So right now, the lead time on the restrooms is about 200 and something days. So it wouldn't be right.
We're stuck with it for the rest of the year and into next year?
We can do the pre-construction meeting and order it, and then.
And this is a prefab, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna.
Correct.
Like a set of Legos that we put up.
Correct.
The design on this one is great. It looks good. I think it'll be a great enhancement to that park. It's just been something that we had approved and discussed almost 2 years ago, and now it's finally coming up. And that snail's pace is what's aggravating. But that current one we've got to get has got to be replaced. And this looks like a fantastic job. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm just hoping we can get it moving as fast as we can. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Yes, so sorry. To follow up on that, so is there anything we can do temporarily, like porta potties that we have at certain hours, or whatever we can do to, because we're gonna rope off demolition and it's gonna go right in the same spot, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct, yeah.
Is there anything that we can do to put porta potties in or some kind of mobilization?
Yeah, we will use temporary restrooms during construction, yeah.
There's no other questions. I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, more a comment. I am not comfortable voting to approve $724,000 for a park restroom. I looked at what's there, and for sure it needs to be upgraded. But the solution, I think, on this one is to revisit this and make it work for a reasonable price. This is not reasonable. I would love to see this one sent back to staff to say, hey guys, come up with another solution. But $724,000 for a restaurant, I recognize that's with the contingency, but it's just way too much money. So there's no way I can support this. I'm actually flabbergasted at the cost that's coming through on this one.
Before you get a second round.
I have a comment, but I'll make a motion to discuss.
You want a motion to approve this item?
Yes.
Is there a second? There is a second. We'll go back to discussion.
My problem is when you said 200 days. What's going to happen with respect to vandalism during that time?
To the existing bathrooms or existing restrooms?
The one that's roped off is not done yet, and will there be any vandalism that can happen during that time?
So, go ahead, I'll let Nick answer that.
Depending on the schedule, I imagine we'll get the demolition done first. That way that we don't have the structure there, but then have the temporary bathrooms, and those will be secured by fencing or something like that. So the idea was there's still a restroom to be used in the park while the current restrooms.
Mr. Mayor, so just if I may real quick, so they're not going to get they're not going to get demoed, not going to removed until they're going to get constructed. So 260 or 200 days would be while they're getting built somewhere off-site. That's the main reason why the prefab building is a big bonus for us. So the restrooms that exist are going to remain, everything's going to remain functional up until the point where we already are ready to construct. We'll coordinate it. They'll get demoed. They'll get completely secured. We will have temporary restrooms, and then the others will come in and get built right on site. So that way the impact is as minimal as possible, and they will have temporary, and it will be fenced out for protection and everything else.
Okay, and thank you. And with respect to the cost, I agree with the cost. All of our restrooms, we keep changing them because they get vandalized and what have you. We have to get, in today's century, to prevent that. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing it over and over again. I'm done.
And I'm going to make some comments, and I'll go second round. I looked at prefab restrooms years ago on a project that I was working on in the private sector. They're not cheap, but they meet the needs that we need for our community, which they're built in a way that helps. I don't know how to say this politically correct, but there's a bunch of knuckleheads in our community that like to damage our property on multiple times. If we were to take all the money that we spent on repairing our restrooms, our parks, our graffiti, break it into used sports containers, and the list can go on, we probably could have built 3 of these restrooms in that time frame. Stop vandalizing your own city. It's ridiculous. But you have to, thank you, Tom. I'm my one fan here tonight. Sean, you could have clapped too. Come on, what are you doing out there? It's tough, and I understand your concern with the money, but unfortunately, in the public sector, there is a period of time that we have to throw these out for bid, and the process takes a while to get there, and all these agencies or companies are allowed to bid into this, and I don't think you're going to find anything better in the pricing, and unfortunately, the time it takes to build them and get them here and all the other things, I don't think we could do any better, Mr. Betts, unfortunately. We might be able to find some solutions, temporary solutions, to help these restrooms to trickle along, but over time, I think we're going to spend 3 times that amount just repairing the current restrooms that are there. So unfortunately, we have to spend this type of money, the taxpayers' money, to build a restroom that will hopefully be fortified for the 1% knuckleheads out there that do this craziness. But it is a pretty facility, so for a restroom, so hopefully it'll go from there. Mr. Gardner.
Yeah, and getting to the cost of that, $724. Of that, $538,000 of it, if I'm not mistaken, is from a community development block grant, so it doesn't come out of our pocket, does it? So the amount coming out of our pocket is $200, which is a much more reasonable figure. So if that helps you ease your mind a little bit more, Mr. Betts.
Well, if I'm gonna, I guess it's my turn. If we're gonna take a community development block grant, I got all kinds of options of things that I could do with that money besides a restroom.
I'm right there with you.
Okay, so just because it's coming in from a community development block grant, that doesn't mean that we have to pick that we're gonna do a restroom with $728,000. Just on some of the construction timeline that people are asking about, this restroom is built by a company called Public Restroom Company. They're the ones who are building it. It's a modular unit. It costs about $450,000. And the difference between that and the total price is what the contractor's charging to demo and set this thing in. And I got all that. And, this guy this company donated a restroom to San Francisco, where you heard about in the news about one that would cost them $1.7 million that hit the news. This isn't $1.7 million, but it's close to that. There's something could be done, and I certainly appreciate the vandalism that's gone on, but I think that if we decided that we were going to get the same job done for less, we at least need to make that effort. And the best move here would be to ask staff to come back with some other options. But I'm not going to win that one, so I've said my piece, and I'll leave it there.
If we have no other comments, please vote.
Motion passes with Councilmember Betts opposed.
Move to item number 8, which is the Palm Drive and 8th Street median project. Mr. Hager or Julian?
Julian. All right. A systemic safety analysis report for Palm Drive was prepared in an effort to improve safety along the Palm Drive corridor. The report identified the Palm Drive median project as a safety improvement recommendation. The city then applied for grant funding from the Highway Safety Improvement Program, and the city was awarded $159,570 for the construction of the Palm Drive median. Plans and specifications were then prepared for the project as part of the overall Palm Drive North Improvement Project. The project features 4 solar-powered flashing stop signs, 4 solar-powered flashing pedestrian warning signs, high visibility crosswalks, as well as palm trees and landscaping within the median. The project improvements included for the HSIP project extend from 7th Street to 8th Street. The remainder of the median improvements are being constructed as part of the overall Palm Drive North improvements. On December 1st, 2022, the city released the request for proposal for the construction of the Palm Drive median, and on January 3rd, the city received 4 bids. The staff reviewed the bids and verified all submittals. Although the lowest apparent bidder was IE General Engineering, their bid was determined to be non-responsive for the following reasons. The bid did not include evidence indicating the capacity of the person signing the bid as was required in the bidding checklist included in the request for proposal package. There was not sufficient DBE good faith efforts by the bidder. The Caltrans Local Assistance Procedures Manual states that if a bidder does not meet the DBE goal, which none of the bidders did, then the bidder must show that they took all necessary and reasonable measures to achieve the DBE contract goal. IE General Engineering made 2 phone calls for their good faith effort, which was deemed inadequate. The bid proposal did not have any amount in the signed bidder's proposal. The bid proposal did not write out the total amount of the bid on the bid sheets. The proposal did not provide original signed documents, bonds, or notaries. The entire package was a copy. And references were called for IE General Engineering, and a reference warned the city to pay attention to the company's workmanship. After completion of the review, the staff determined that Onyx Paving Company Incorporated was the lowest responsive bidder for the amount of $201,949. Onyx Paving Company Incorporated met all the necessary submittal requirements and qualifications. Onyx Paving Company Incorporated contacted 30 DBEs via email and fax through the web portal dbegoodfaith.com, as well as posted advertisements on Twitter. And references for Onyx Paving Company Incorporated spoke highly of them, recommending specific foremen, as well as hiring them as their on-call concrete repairs, for their on-call concrete repairs. Staff recommends to award the construction contract agreement to the lowest responsive bidder, Onyx Paving Company Incorporated, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement by and between Onyx Paving Company Incorporated and the City of Desert Hot Springs for the construction of the HSIP 9-3 Palm Drive median federal project number HSIP L 5384025, city project number 3021, in the amount of $201,194.90, as needed inspection services of $32,280, and as needed material equipment testing of $6,499.80, which brings the total project budget to $260,923.70. This concludes my report, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Anybody in the audience like to speak to this item? See nobody coming forth. Close public comments. We'll move to council questions or entertain a motion. Sure.
Talk to me about the pedestrian safety enhancements. What are we looking at? You said highly visible sidewalks. That could be anything from paint in our intersections, where we have a lot of intersections with no painted crosswalks, to what they have down in Palm Springs, where they have the bollards, and it says state law says you must stop, and I mean, they really go out of their way down there. Where are we at?
So high visibility is typically the ladder type crosswalks that look like basically like a ladder.
Okay. And was there any extra special notice for the cars to maybe bollards or anything like they're doing in Palm Springs?
Not on this project.
Okay, and does this extend down to, we have the Dollar General, which has a lot of foot traffic crossing Palm. I've sat there and watched it. Does this extend down there? I know you've blocked off 7th with the existing median. Dollar General is just a block down. Is there any plans for a crosswalk there in this project and all of this going on?
Not as a part of this project, no.
So somebody there is going to have to walk up to where to find a decent, they're not going to be able to cross at 7th, so they're going to have to either continue to cross at Palm and 6th, or they're going to have to walk all the way up to 8th, which they're not going to do. Is there any plans to put in crosswalk on Palm and 6th when we're striping and doing all that work there so that at least, wow, we should. I see you shaking a head no. And I tell you, people have been asking for painted crosswalks because the motoring public just doesn't understand that if somebody's at an intersection, they're supposed to stop if there's a pedestrian going across. The only thing that registers in their mind is that they see a painted crosswalk. You see the discussion on Facebook all the time. What's that person doing crossing in the middle of the street? Well, they weren't in the middle of the street. They were at the intersection, the crosswalk. Go back and read your DMV handbook. I'm begging staff or pleading with them to do what you can in this project along here to deal with that intersection at Palm and 6th and all that foot traffic at that's being generated by the Dollar General. The other question I got was somebody said to me, well, why is this on the agenda if we already have a median being constructed? And I had a conversation with staff today, but for those people who asked me that question, I'm giving them the benefit of having the answer here. What's different between what we're approving here and what's already being constructed? It looked like you were asking us to approve something that's already been underway, but I've understood that this is completely different. This isn't the median work already being done. This is something else. Tell me what the something else is.
It's the safety improvements and the landscaping and the striping and all of those things.
Okay, so what we see there now is just part of what the original plan was, and this is now the part that's making this safer for pedestrians. Okay, and I certainly agree with the need there where you're doing this. I just want to expand this. So, all right, well, you know what, I'm going to ask you about it in our next meeting with the city manager. So, okay, thank you.
Any other comments before we get to a motion?
Just one more comment. So the high visibility, that's actually the question I was going to have, the high visibility. Can we use some kind of reflective paint, white paint that's going to stand out at night? Because at the end of the day, that's when pedestrians are having issues, getting hit by cars and whatnot, because we can't see can't see them crossing or anything. But if we have high visibility, like reflective paint, that might help, with that.
So, yeah, on crosswalks, it requires thermoplastic being put down on the ground, and inside, after they put down the thermoplastic, they throw down glass beads to get the high reflectivity. The thing that makes this different, you have parallel lines for regular crosswalks. These have the ladder, so when you do come up, it looks like a white line rather than just real thin lines.
On that same note, just an observation, and I'm not a professional here, but when we did the South Palm, Two Bunch Palms area, we paved, we oiled, and then we put everything down, and the oil pretty much covered a lot of the painting pretty quickly. So I'm not a professional here, but we might want to wait a little bit for that to dry before we put the other paint down so we don't cover that up really quickly. Well, every once in a while I have one. Ask my wife. Yeah, I got one fan and everything. Yeah, this is a good night for me. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the recommendation of staff for the Palm Drive Street Median project.
I'll second.
We do have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, move to item number 9, which is a cooperative agreement between the City of Desert Hot Springs and Riverside County for the shared funding for the design and construction of a traffic signal at the intersection of Palm Drive and 20th Avenue.
Me again?
Charlene?
Me again, yep. All right, Palm Drive and 20th Avenue is currently an unsignalized intersection, with Palm Drive being one of the main corridors for the City of Desert Hot Springs. Numerous residents that live east of Palm Drive utilize this intersection as their main access point. The Transportation Injury Map System identified 10 accidents within the area between 2011 and 2021, and has one of the highest numbers of accidents for unsignalized intersections along Palm Drive. In order to improve the intersection safety, a traffic signal has been proposed by the County of Riverside and the City of Desert Hot Springs. The intersection is located in both the City of Desert Hot Springs and the County of Riverside, as the east side of the intersection is in the county and the west side of the intersection is in the city. This results in 50% of the intersection being within the jurisdictional limits of each agency. Therefore, the cost for design and construction will be shared by 50% for the county and the city. The preliminary estimates for the design and the construction of the traffic signal is $790,000, with $250,000 estimated for design and $540,000 estimated for construction. In order to move forward, the county has requested that the city enter into an agreement to share the costs, in which the city agrees to act as lead agency, prepare plans, specifications, and engineer's estimate, and advertise, award, and administer the public works contract for construction. The county agrees to fund 50% of the cost for the design and construction of the intersection, issue a no-cost encroachment permit to the city, and pay all invoices submitted by the city within 45 days. Staff recommends City Council to authorize the city manager to execute the cooperative agreement between the City of Desert Hot Springs and the County of Riverside for the traffic signal and road improvements at the intersection of Palm Drive and 20th Avenue. Should be noted, this is just a cost share agreement, and other approvals will come back to council. And this concludes my report, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Everybody in the audience would like to speak to this item? I'd just like...
Sorry, I forgot to add, there were some revisions to the agreement, and I believe this was handed out to everybody, so I just wanted to note that.
I did see someone standing up. Would you like to speak to this item?
I've spoken to City Council. For 14 years, I've commuted down Palm Drive to Palm Desert. And often I have kids in the car taking them to school, and I have seen accidents at that corner. And I've seen the struggles that the drivers have on 20th coming into Palm. And I just wanted to thank you for keeping us safe, and thank you for saving lives.
Thank you, Darlene. Yeah, anyone else would like to speak to this before I close public comments? I was fast on the trigger there, apologize. I just wanted to make a few comments. I travel that quite a bit also, and it's a very dangerous intersection. You come over the hill from the Desert Dunes golf course area there, and it comes up on you quick. And I've seen traffic or people off of 20th there come try to emerge in the traffic, and it's just not easy. And so this is an opportunity for us to help make that corridor safer. I know we received a state transportation grant for that corridor to help rebuild the roads in that area. So this is just moving what would probably end up happening over time anyways, faster. Not the government's fast, but at least we get to the planning stage of it and get it going. It's really important, and hopefully it will possibly help slow down some of the traffic in that area. I'll start here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree. This is a very dangerous intersection, and we need to put something there. My concern, Jolene and others in Public Works, is I think we're going to need, because people tend to treat Palm Drive as a freeway now, all of a sudden there's going to be a light there that hasn't been there before. And my fear is somebody flying Palm at 50 miles an hour, not seeing the light there because it's not been there. And we have one heck of a rear end collision mess down there. So I would hope that as we're doing this, we'll put some warning signs out further back out on Palm, including I have seen in some jurisdictions a sign about a half-mile back that begins to flash. It says light about to change or something like that. That's a permanent sign, not a temporary one that new light is coming, but that says you'll see them on the 86 expressway down through Mecca and Thermal. They'll start to flash about 2 minutes before the light changes on those crossways there. So I would like to see if we can do add some of that too, because as much as this is needed, I see a nightmare scenario too with somebody doing 60 miles an hour down there and plowing into the back of somebody because there was a light that wasn't there. So I'm all in favor of this. We're going to need as a council, as a city, to also put out word to residents in all of our channels that this light is going in, start paying attention to it. So hopefully they will. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with you, but I think the real problem is going to be going southbound, like where you said that hill's at. So maybe we can put up some, flashing red lights to say, hey, slow down. I think great idea.
If there's no one else, we'll...
My turn?
Sure.
Thanks. So, as motorists, we don't like to see another signal between where we are and where we're going. But this intersection has been really, really bad. And every time I go down there, I wonder, how those people are possibly entering the highway. I mean, it's real bad. So I really want to thank staff for the job they're doing to get these grants and get these improvements done. There was a time in the city when you would just dream about something like this. And I know in the newspaper, I keep seeing all the city getting grants. You might want to put out some press releases or something because we're not getting enough publicity on this one. And on your concern, I think I see what you're talking about on that, with the danger of this different thing going in place. But if you remember out at the intersection of Little Morongo and Two Bunch Palms, we had that concern when that stop sign went in. But I think everybody recognized that it was so needed to have that stop sign there that I think everybody that stops there says, thank goodness somebody's controlled this intersection. So we may see some of that going on. You may need some speed patrols on there because I'm going to say this. If anybody's got a Dodge Charger out there, I'm sorry, but as soon as you buy that car and sign it, you should get a speeding ticket immediately, because I saw this guy in this, he's just going down that median 3 times faster than, I'm exaggerating, but just incredible. So we might need some increased speed patrols on there before this light gets activated. So anyhow, thanks staff for doing a great job on getting this included. You guys doing a good job.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. No other comments, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 10 is an ordinance amending section 4.16.010 unlawful acts, public nuisances of chapter 4.16 public nuisances of Title 4 Code Enforcement Section 5.44.080 operational requirements of standard conditions of chapter 5.44 vacation rentals of Title 5 business licenses and restrict regulations, Section 8.04.150 storage on premises, placement for collection of chapter 8.04 waste disposal of Title 8 health and safety. Thanks, Christina.
Trying to make sure everybody's still awake. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I won't repeat that. So tonight, staff is proposing an ordinance amending Titles 4, 5, and 8, which regulate the storage of garbage receptacles, otherwise known as trash cans. So the purpose of this amendment is to allow for properties to store garbage cans visible from the public right-of-way in a location that is least noticeable from the street or roadway when limited gate, doorway, or property design access prevents storing garbage cans out of sight from public right-of-way. The proposed amendments include removing language from Title 4, which currently provides that storing garbage cans visible from the public right-of-way is a public nuisance. Additionally, removing language from Title 5, which regulates vacation rentals, that would allow trash cans to be stored in a location that is least noticeable from the street, but still require that they be retrieved no later than 7 p.m. on trash collection day. And lastly, removing language from Title 8 to allow for storage in the least noticeable location on the property visible from the public right-of-way. So this is just an example of a property that could store that is still visible from the public right-of-way, but not neatly tucked away. And here's another example. And I just added this slide because I wanted the public and also the council to be aware that there are still going, if this ordinance passes, there'll still be violations related to garbage cans that are citable actions. So an example would be overflowing trash cans, not collecting your garbage receptacles and tucking them away during non-collection days and times. So if you get your trash picked up on a Wednesday, your trash can is still in the public right of way on a Thursday, it's still going to be a citable offense. And then also for short-term vacation rentals if they're not collected before 7 p.m. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So, do we have any public comments, first of all?
Sure.
I don't see anybody stepping forward. I just make a, yes, ma'am, you may come forward to make your public comment.
All right, thank you. I appreciate this. I appreciate this time. Okay, I'm usually not this vocal in the city matters, but I was just curious, I guess, why we're not looking at all all the lines. There was like 40 or 44 lines or something, and it was all, I don't know if that's new, all of it's new, or just, why was that included in like the PDF? I don't know. But that's just, I guess, my comment there. I noticed a couple of other kind of errors, or not errors, but kind of things that I just wanted to bring up as a citizen and a rule follower myself, and just trying to understand the rules and comprehend the rules and all that stuff. So like at the discretion of, there's a couple of rules that say like at the discretion of, and I feel like we could really make it more simple and to the point, to where it's maybe not as open to interpretation. There's just a couple of things that got real wordy and real long, and so I'm like, ooh, hopefully we can just make sure it's just simple and the rules are easy to follow, I guess is my hope. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to make a quick comment, and then I'm pretty sure Mr. Bett's going to make a comment on this, something that we've kind of fought for years. And thank you for getting to this and making it, I believe, more simple in government speak. Maybe not so simple to the public, but what we're trying to do here is not cause our code enforcement officers to go out because they receive a complaint of a trash can and have to be fair by citing everyone on that block because they're all out of compliance. We have too many homes in our neighborhoods that can't reach their backyards or places to put their cans out of sight, and a lot of people don't like to use their garages because they're used for other concern or other issues. So I think this meets what we've been trying to get a hold of, and make it a little more easier for the public to have their trash cans on the side of their homes or in a tight, nice tucked away spot, as you made in that or put in that photo where they were just up against the oleander bushes. They are nicely uniformed, and so I'm here to support this. Mr. Betts?
Yeah, going back, I think I'm going to say, well, finally, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not agree with you, but on this one, finally, this is coming towards us. I do agree.
And finally, you agree with me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, perfect. But and I think the public needs to know, if you're just leaving your trash cans haphazardly in front of your garage door, not making any effort to tuck them aside, that's not what this is about. So you still got to make an effort. And what I would like to see, though, is, because we got a lot of calls on this one, I think it's part of what prompted this look, is anybody who's received, and I'd like to make this a part of the motion, anybody who's received a citation, I think the advice of staff was in the last 3 months, or a notice of courtesy notice that either the citation would be, if they had paid it, refunded if there's already, and that they'd be given a notice saying, hi, the council has looked at this issue, changed the ordinance, and you are no longer out of compliance, but please keep your trash cans neat. If there's any of those instances, I think it would be good to include that in the motion, that we go back 3 months and then do anybody who got a citation and be notified that, you know, the calls that you get from people. Everyone on my street has got this problem, why you're picking on me, and I don't think they understand it real clearly. So that would be part of my motion, if I can make one, Mr. Mayor.
If he was to make that motion, which it sounds like he's trying to, how much, would it be a lot of extra work to do something like that? I mean, do we have a lot of violations out there right now?
So I'd have to run a report to kind of get a preliminary figure of how many have been cited. This is not really something that we cite for. I think the majority of kind of what we see on Facebook and the outcry is that we leave a lot of door hangers, which are notices of violation that are not citations or administrative fines, two separate things. Most recently, the action that we've taken are against vacation rentals because of the newly repealed and replaced ordinance. So majority of those violations are just with respect to them not having property managers and the trash cans not being pulled in after 7 p.m. or before 7 p.m.
Then I will second his motion.
That being said, going back,
I'm sorry, I didn't see you this way, but I'll go ahead, and then I'll come back to Gary.
With the short-term rentals, how are we monitoring them? How do we drive streets and just like the day after trash collection day and say, okay, they're out and they haven't been taken in, or are we using the company that we hired to do that?
We're using the contract company. So they get a master list of all of the vacation rentals, and they do actively drive by. And if they see a trash can out, then they will add that to the report to staff, and then staff will follow up in the morning either with a door hanger or a citation.
Let me just kind of add to that, if I could, Ms. Newsom, Can you walk us through, we saw a lot of traffic on Facebook, $1,000 fine. It's not a $1,000 fine, is it?
No.
What is the fine for it?
It's,
If after 2 courtesy notices?
$100.
So you get a courtesy notice that goes 20 days.
Wait. You're saying Facebook was wrong?
So
There's 2 separate fee schedules we're talking about here. One is for vacation rentals, which is obviously higher. The normal after the courtesy notice and final for any residential property would be $100.
and you get 2 courtesy notices before
Yes,
violation. So
between courtesy notice and citation, you have 4 weeks to remedy.
okay, that was what I wanted to clear up. So how, and you don't even have a ballpark figure about how many fines we've collected in the last 3 months?
No, not even on, no, I wouldn't even guess. This is not something that's very common. Most people bring in their trash cans and it's not really a violation. What I will say is that it's a violation that is one of our top complaints. So we're not actively going out and looking for people that have left their trash can out, in front of their gates. What it is that we receive a lot of complaints. Neighbors don't like trash cans in the public right of way, especially when it's windy. And if you leave it out there for 1 extra day, it, obviously is going to blow trash everywhere and the lid's going to be open and cars go by and hit them. And so those are the complaints that we receive. That's the reactive enforcement that we're doing.
Thank you.
Any other comments before we?
Yeah. I know people think code enforcement is tough, but I think 4 weeks is very reasonable. I'll let you know if my wife does not give me 4 weeks to correct something, so if she tells me once and then so just let you know, you guys are doing great. I think giving them 4 weeks is plenty of time.
This is just the end. No, I don't agree with you, but I'll go with it. With relationship to the lady that asked the question, this was primarily about vacation rentals, and we edited. We did not change. We edited for that purpose. Everything else remains the same. I'm done.
Sorry. If you have something that you see and you go over, you've certainly, you have the opportunity of the public input at the meeting, even if it's not on the agenda, and welcome looking at the code and seeing anything that might come up, study it, step up, and great, happy to have that. That's how things like this get changed.
All right, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. This is a first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Desert Hot Springs amending Section 4.16.010 Unlawful Acts, Public Nuisances of Chapter 4.16 Public Nuisances of Title 4 Code Enforcement, Section 5.44.080 Operational Requirements and Standard Conditions of Chapter 5.44 Vacation Rentals of Title 5 Business Licenses and Regulations, Section 8.04.150, storage on premises, placement for collection of Chapter 8.04, waste disposal of Title 8, health and safety. The ordinance will return on February 21st for second reading and adoption.
Item number 11 is the last on the administrative calendar. It's an amendment to a professional services agreement with Chambers Group, Inc. for on-call environmental services on an as-needed basis. Nick, I'm getting as tongue-tied as you were earlier. Sorry, man. Who's this going to be?
It's going to be myself.
All right.
Okay, so this is an amendment to a professional services agreement we have with Chambers Group, Inc. So this, just a little bit of background. The City of Desert Hot Springs has an agreement with Chambers, Inc. to provide on-call environmental services on behalf of the city's planning department. What this does is allow them to do some peer review on environmental impact reports, other types of environmental documents that are needed. The purpose of this agreement is really to continue the agreement to help the Chambers Group augment some of these services related to CEQA and NEPA. They also as well assist with AB 250 consultation in the process through various development projects. This is all under the direction of the Community Development Department. They serve as the coordinator for various different documents for CEQA and NEPA. On July 2nd, 2019, the City of Desert Hot Springs entered a professional services agreement with Chambers Group to utilize their services. The proposed professional services agreement would amend the previously approved contract and extend the term for 1 year it would as well increase $50,000 and bring it up to $200,000. Just to be clear, this is a pass-through fee that's paid for by the developers. The City of Desert Hot Springs, just as a future, will be posting a request for qualifications to establish a new list of consultants. At that time, we'll review, if Chambers Group does apply, we'll review their application. But this is to maintain and continue this service as we do the RFQ and start reviewing the submittals. So here's the fiscal impact. It's $200,000 for fiscal year 21-22 and 23-24 is together combined $200,000. The recommendation is that the City Council authorize the City Manager to execute a professional services agreement for on-call environmental services with Chambers Group, Inc. in the amount of $200,000 for 1 year, and to authorize the City Manager to execute all necessary agreements as approved to form by the City Attorney. That concludes my report, and I am here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to make any comments on this item? See nobody stepping forward. We'll entertain any questions or a motion.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any comments? All right, wait for it to come up on the screen. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Move back to public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that did not speak at the beginning of the meeting in public comments? See nobody stepping forward. Our Public Safety Commission will meet on February 9th, which is this Thursday. A week from today on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all, if you celebrate. Planning Commission will meet, and on February 21st, we'll be back here for a City Council meeting. There's no further business in front of the city. We are adjourned.